Hey everybody, this is Friday Night Chats with Kevin.
And I'm Kelly, and this is your Friday, July 30th edition of Friday Night Chats. The end of July already.
End of July already.
Oh my gosh. It's gone by so fast.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's like almost August of 2021.
Yeah.
And remember in 2020, we were like, this year's never going to end.
Yeah. And it kind of didn't, because 2021 started out so.
This is just like 2021 part 2. 2020 part 2. Especially lately in the news. Like it seems to be ramping back up.
Yeah.
With the controversies about masks. And I thought we were on the right track. And now we seem to be reversing course, which is not good. I was hoping the school year would be different, but it's not looking like it's going to be.
No.
So anyway, put on a happy face. They won't be able to see me not smiling anyway because I'll be in a mask.
There you go.
Waiting for that booster.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what they'll do is they can up the booster, work out a booster that would, get it so the variants aren't going to be a problem. I mean, right now the Delta variant isn't really a problem for people that are vaccinated. So
well, no.
So.
All right. So this week, I will say we started this week off a little bit on a scary foot with my mom. She had a little bit of a health situation on Sunday. That we just, I guess, today, started getting under control, but she just a spell with being really dizzy and nauseous and upset. She was out, and I went and picked her up because she didn't even want to drive home.
Yeah, which for her, that's a bad situation.
Yeah, so we've been working on that. I think we're on the right track now. Things are looking much better. She's feeling much better, thankfully. And healthier food is kicking in. So
yeah, I mean, 2020. I don't think anyone was like sticking to their diets or whatever. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. But now we're back on. I mean, the other night we had salmon and broccoli,
and I actually liked it. I don't like salmon, but I actually really, really liked it.
Yeah, it was real good.
And the broccoli came out. We did grilled chicken tenders with a salad one night, and tonight we're doing a rotisserie roast beef with some green beans or something.
Probably green beans, and we still have a little bit of mashed potatoes. From
we do mash a little bit of mashed potatoes, but we're trying to cut out sugar, starches.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be better at it than me, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean it's a hard one to cut. I mean that bread is so good. It is.
Sugar is yummy.
Yeah. But
we're working it out.
What you got to do,
and we're all back on the right track.
Yeah,
getting back on the bike. I have a goal to do 100 miles on my recumbent bike between now and end of August, which is if you break it down into little pieces, not a terribly outrageous goal, but I am one that'll be the last thing I really push myself to do. So
yeah,
but I've
August 30th and she's like pedaling for
50 miles left, damn it. I might extend my goal to like the first day the kids come back to school to give myself an extra week, but I don't know, I'll do it. I'll reach it.
There we go.
One way or another, I'll get there. All right, so but the that aside, because that was a big thing, but the Olympics have been the big thing for us.
I've been a big fan of the Olympics forever. When the Olympics are on, and it's great now because you can watch it on your streaming devices, the TV or whatever. And sometimes before I used to have it on the iPad and on a computer screen and on my phone. And now I don't have as many streaming things. I just stream it on the iPad, whatever's available, because I don't think they're broadcasting as much as they usually do.
Their viewership is down big time from what I heard. Like they're 50 points down from the last Olympics.
Well, the London Olympics, they made a big deal, and they had a nice app that was real easy to use. And as much as I like Peacock, Peacock is not great for viewing the Olympics. It's just not. So you folks at NBC, you got to figure that out. Put that other app that you had back in the London Olympics. That was great. London was great.
The one I went to, it had like the different events listed, and then if they were occurring at that time, you could just click the button and watch it.
Yeah.
But you want something like 4 different screens worth of different stuff going on?
That would be great if you could do that. But
Kevin would like that. And it's funny because Kevin's not a sports guy
at all.
He doesn't watch football, baseball, nothing. But the Olympics come around and he is like on it.
Yeah, well, it's I like the kind of the third tier sports aspect of it. Like this year, they had a new sport that was introduced. It was 3-on-3 basketball.
That's been pretty cool.
The U.S. men were out. They didn't get anywhere close to the medal rounds,
which surprises me.
Yeah, you would think here in the U.S. basketball is such a thing, and we dominate.
Are slightly different.
Yeah, it is a different situation, but you would think that we would dominate it, but we don't in the men's side. In the women's side, we won gold because the girls were
women kick ass,
just charging, and they were all business. They were pretty cool to watch. And there's 4 people on the team, of course, because you switch one person out every now and again and rotate them out or whatever.
But I have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
Do other countries play basketball? Professional basketball like they do in this country?
Well, I know some of them do because
do they have women's professional basketball?
Probably not.
There you go.
Yeah. But well, I don't know.
Get on it.
Sure, but yeah,
countries.
But it was fun to watch. It's a smaller court. It's not half court. It's smaller than half court.
Smaller than half court, but
they had a inside like dome where it was 1 point, and then anything outside the dome, which would normally be 3 points, is 2 points. And it seemed like the texture of the floor was different.
I don't know if that's like
if it was just
a thing for that sport, or if that's just the way that facility. I haven't noticed on like normal basketball game if they're on
it looked like they're on a regular
basketball floor.
Yeah, I mean, they got
weird
all kinds of cool facilities in Tokyo. They got one of the things I'm very impressed with is, and they did the same thing in London. I'm sure they did it in Rio. But they had a stadium where they built a rapid river with rapids and everything for the kayaking events. And some of that's a crazy event to watch too, because they have to go through the rapids and paddle and do all of that, but they have to go through green gates, and then if they run across a red gate, they have to circle inside of it,
circle around back to
right, circle around inside of it and not hit the poles. And if they hit the poles, they get a time penalty. So some of these guys, they don't hit them at all, and they're just like millimeters away from their face, slipping around this thing. It's crazy to watch. But I remember in London, the Irish guy, that guy was hilarious. He just bowled through.
Probably singing
everything in the world. Yeah. I mean, it got to a point where he just didn't give a shit anymore. He's just bowling down there like, there's no way I'm going to win this. I'm just going to get down as quick as I can and maybe salvage something. But no, that dude hit everything on the way down. It was hilarious to watch.
I wonder if the people who work in that facility, like when the Olympics are over, what do you do with it? Mm-hmm. But if they slow the water down a little bit and you can like go in it in like rafts,
river, that would be cool. If if it wasn't like a rapid river, but just kind of like
you slow it down so it's not quite so like white water rafting. But even that, if you're experienced, like on Tuesdays they run it at the high speed and you go down.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be kind of neat.
I mean, it's not like you're going to be bumping into sharp rocks if you screw up. It's a man-made river, so there's I guess there is that aspect of it too, is that there's a bit less danger than if you were actually doing it on a wild river. So you're not dealing with fish or whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit in the face by a salmon,
and a salmon smacks you in the face. Damn it!
But Tokyo's kind of taking a bath on this Olympics.
Yeah, they are.
Like to put the money they put into building those facilities, and then they depend on the tourism and the people coming there to watch the Olympics to kind of recoup some of that money. And now they can't be there. It's like,
I mean, they got all the restrictions. So.
They were saying even not having a crowd to watch is like affecting some of the athletes. Mm-hmm. Not having that cheering and that support and all. So.
It was kind of wild today. We were watching the indoor volleyball, and the girls, the American girls, were loud. They were screaming and hollering, and I was like, "Wow!" And you probably wouldn't notice it if there was a crowd there, but that's
in the swimming. There was somebody somewhere with an air horn that if I had been there, I would have wanted to do something with that person and the air horn, because I don't know if it has something to do with like. Someone on the team, if it's a signal to the swimmer as to where they are in the pool, or
that's what they got bells for. They stand there and.
But man, they just kept hitting that horn, and I was like, "Good Lord!" But anyway, so the big story, obviously, from the Olympics has been Simone Biles.
Simone Biles,
withdrawing herself from the team competition and the all-around team competition.
And did she make a decision yet? As we record this, I don't think she's made a decision if she's going to do the individual
I haven't
events.
heard if she has decided on
I would imagine she would not.
If she's really worried that she's not in the right place and she's afraid of hurting herself, which is a legit concern for someone of her skill, then she probably won't.
I would suggest that she don't, because here's the thing. She was talking about how when she was in the air, she lost track of where she was in the air. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're doing that kind of stuff at that level, you need to know what's up and down.
At a normal gymnastics level, and then you have the Simone Biles flipping gymnastics.
Yeah, if you're flipping or whatever, and then you lose track of where the ground is, and you think, well, maybe I'll just get one more flip in, and next thing you know, you're just slamming your head into the ground.
Or you stop yourself from flipping, but your body's still rotating.
Yeah, and then
either way,
you're going to end up with something broken, or
break your neck,
paralyzed, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's legit. I think she did the right thing.
I do too.
So
I completely support. I think your initial reaction is like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I can't believe she would just abandon her team. But then, the more you think, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, actually, what she did was the bravest thing she could have done, mm-hmm. because it can't be easy to be the world's most elite athlete.
Yeah.
Not even gymnast, just athlete. And then step away from the team competition for what you're citing as mental health issues. Mm-hmm. I think for her, there was a lot. What we were talking about with her not wanting to compete because she wasn't in the right headspace and she was afraid that she would really, really injure herself. And then there's the other aspect with the team of, I know I'm not going to be doing this, and all I'm going to do is cost my team a medal. Yeah. And I don't want to be the reason why they don't win a medal. And they went ahead to win silver without her.
Yeah.
So good for her for standing up and not being afraid to take the heat on that, because she's getting plenty of heat.
Yeah.
Not anybody out in like open on television. Most of the people you see or the stories you read are supportive. But what you hear from Facebook and Twitter and your friends and people you follow, someone said it today, like, Simone Biles is never going to read what you put on Facebook about how you feel about it, mm-hmm. but your friends who struggle with mental health might read it. And so please just keep that in mind. You know, like, I don't know.
I think some of it too is that, mental health is one of those things that people still to this day are not comfortable with talking about, because a lot of us are still from that generation where you just suck it up.
Yeah, suck it up. You're a professional athlete.
Yeah.
You should be able to deal with the pressure. All that's well and good. In her situation, having gone through sexual abuse and physical abuse and emotional abuse at the hands mm-hmm. of the people who were training her, to even stay in the sport itself is a lot.
Well, she didn't need to. She
took control of her own.
The Olympics at all. She obviously she's not going to be hurting for money. Now, she's probably going to feel some repercussions, because there's going to be some sponsors that
she's got her whole life ahead of her.
But I mean, there's going to be other things that she's not going to be lacking for opportunity.
No.
So,
and she has her own training gym.
Yeah. And she'll be a commentator, I'm sure. NBC will pick her up for the next Summer Olympics for sure.
But as part of a broader thing, like you were saying, with people don't really take mental health issues mm-hmm. seriously, I think that's one of the things going through the pandemic. For me, I can only speak, my professional side of it as a teacher, and all the mental health issues that went along with that and everything we went through last year. I have had to just distance myself, because last year I watched every school board meeting. I was, paying attention to every single decision, and I was listening to people on both sides be really ridiculous with each other, and it wears on your mental ability. And I think once I got back to the classroom and the kids were back in front of me, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I need to focus on just giving them the best experience I can, and also keeping myself emotionally well, because if you're not giving the kids what they need, you have to take your mental health into consideration.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a story about a teacher who had COVID, was in the hospital, and continuing to teach virtually while she was in the hospital from her hospital bed. And the story was, oh, look how wonderful and dedicated this teacher is. And all I could think was, that's ridiculous. This is your job. So, like, if Kevin got ill, he wouldn't be clamoring to answer tech support calls from his hospital bed, and nobody would expect him to. Yeah. Nobody would expect him.
I can tell you from experience, because I was in the hospital last year.
I know. And your job should come. I mean, it's certainly important.
And at the time, my supervisor at the time was even telling me, because I was like, oh, I'm going to be out of the hospital. I'll be able to work tomorrow. She says, take an extra day, because you've spent 36 hours in a hospital. You're not going to want to work the next day, because you're just not. So and take an extra. And I did, and she was right. So
I think the perception is, because education, especially elementary education, is a woman's field, that the perception is people who get into teaching are called into it, and so we're expected to give everything and put everything else aside because we love that, and we do, but at some point,
I think it's more about the importance of the job, and I'll explain that. Your what you do is much more beneficial to society than what I do. I'm paid to take a beating. That's it. I'm just paid to take a beating for somebody else. If I don't go to work, it's no skin off anybody's nose, really. But you are affecting children's lives for the better. So that's much more important than anything I'm ever going to do working for Cox. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I mean,
and I'm not trying to downplay my job.
I still don't believe that, though. I still think if you were, I don't know, like, who do you think what's the most influential job?
Other than teacher?
Yeah, like model maker. My dad's over here building a model. I don't know. Let's say.
I mean, if you're like a CEO, if you're like a CEO of a company that has employed 1,000 people, and you can't work for whatever reason, I mean, if your place has to shut down because you're not there, then you're pretty damn important to those 1,000 people.
Well, and also if you're the CEO, you're also looking out for your own financial pocket. I mean, that's different. I still think that there is a perception that because women are nurturing, and I'm not talking about high school, that's different because there's more men in that field. In elementary, early elementary and all, you just don't have a lot of men in that field. It's the women's. They're nurturing and sweet and loving and kind and all of those things. And I think people don't understand how stressful the job is. I guess maybe they think we just sing in color in kindergarten. And
you didn't have any of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we sing, we do, we color and we sing, we do that, but there's a purpose.
Yeah.
Nothing is without intention. So I just think people don't understand how stressful it is. Your mental health has to be good.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing. So
I get that. But your job as a whole is much more important.
It's not more important than my mental health.
Right. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this is probably where people are like, oh, that's so great that she did that, because her job is so important that it has to be thing. And now if Simone Biles doesn't do her job, it's sucks, but it's not gonna. There's no skin off your nose, unless you've got money on it. Rightly doesn't.
I just think
it's not a huge detriment to society if she doesn't do the routine. It's interesting conversation to have. I'm glad that she's not risking her own life in this endeavor. But
the bottom line is she knows herself and her ability. She's the one that knows herself the best.
Right.
And she made a call.
But as teachers have such a profound effect on kids' lives, I think people would, thought that woman was doing such a great thing. But I agree with you. What if because she stressed herself out teaching, her health was in such, went further south,
I know from being.
She's not going to help those kids out if she's dead.
In education for 23 years, if I have to be out for a week because I'm sick, there are qualified people that come in.
Yeah.
And my students will not suffer from me not being there for that long period, for a week of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like they're running around the room with no supervision if I'm not there. So, I don't know. Anyway, good on you, Simone Biles, for taking care of yourself and making your choice. And no one else's business but yours.
There you go.
So, and it allowed some of those other athletes, some of those other gymnasts who would have been overlooked at the Olympics to step up and shine, and that's exactly what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, one of the girls say, I'm not good with their, I know Simone Biles, and but one of them won the gold in the all-around individual.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
All I know is the Ledecky girl. Jesus Christ. That girl's got
Lord.
a motor and blowing jet water out of her ass or something. She is just moving in that pool. It's crazy.
She is.
She did the 1500. She was almost a half a lap in front of the closest girl to her. She was a full lap and a half over the last person. It was crazy.
She's got it figured out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
that's for sure. So the Olympics continue. Of course, we kind of, once it gets into the track and field events, do we pay as much attention?
Not so much. I mean, I like the field events, but I don't like watching.
Archery was cool.
Archery was cool. We watched the team. The Koreans were killing it on the archery. They were just sinking it like tens. It's crazy how good they were. That was fun to watch. And then they've done water polo. I think that's done.
We watched table tennis yesterday.
Table tennis.
Girl, I think she was from China, who puts the ball in her hand and stares at it and then serves it. That was pretty.
Yeah, she's willing the ball to go wherever.
She's becoming one with the ping pong ball.
And then my normal rant about badminton. We should be dominating that. I mean, we play that while we're drinking in the backyard.
That's why we don't dominate it, because we have to be drinking.
I guess because the U.S. team just can't muster anything. They don't even make it.
Give them a few drinks and they probably play better.
Probably.
But they'll probably test it,
Yeah, they'll probably pee in the cup and then, oh, well, you're disqualified because you've got Miller Lite in you. Great. Thanks, buddy. But, we should be dominating that. We should be dominating that. And then, the men should step up their game on that 3-on-3 basketball. I mean, I swear to God. I was watching. I was like in the medal rounds. I was like, "Where's the American?" They're not there. It's just bad.
So we're gonna keep watching the Olympics, see what keeps happening. I don't know how much longer it goes on. Probably another week. Mm-hmm. Usually it's 2 weeks.
Usually it's about 2 weeks, and then the Paralympics, which they don't really air them. I guess they just do a rundown on. I guess the only time anyone paid attention was that guy Oscar murdered his wife.
The one who went to prison for killing his girlfriend. I can't remember his name.
I know his first name was Oscar, but really doesn't matter. He's,
All right, so we're gonna do something we have not done before for our second segment.
Be fun.
We are gonna play the Not-So-Newlywed game. So we're gonna see how this goes. We had a little bit of a glitch, even understanding the rules ourselves, but we'll be back with that. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
And we're back.
Remember the theme music?
I'm probably wrong on that.
The theme music. So today, welcome to the Not-So-Newlywed game with the Roses.
The Roses, because we've been married 14 years. Coming on 15 in July or in February. So this will be fun. So. All
right. So how we did this was there were 5 questions Kevin answered, and I answered how I thought Kevin would answer. So as we read the questions, and I don't know who gives the answer first. I guess you do, and then we see if I match you.
Well,
or I'll give the answer first, and then you see if
I'll tell you what I said.
And then we'll earn a point.
Is the questions I answered myself, and she's going to try to answer them.
Okay. So do you want to do points if I don't match? You get a point.
Yeah.
Okay. So. In the first 5, if I match your answer, I get a point. If I don't match your answer, you get a point.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right, here we go.
That way somebody's always getting a point.
Question number 1. I'll read these questions and you read my questions, okay?
Okay.
When did you realize your spouse was the one? So I'm going to answer how I think you would answer.
Okay.
So I wrote on my little piece of paper that Kevin will say when he first saw me on our first date.
Yeah. What I said was, I fell in love in 10 minutes, but I knew you were the one after a month.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, so, a month?
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing, I was in love with you, but then there was like, okay, yeah, I got to marry this woman. That's when it was like, you're the one.
Oh.
So I fell in love. It took me 10 minutes to fall in love. It takes everybody about 10 minutes to fall in love.
I do see the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa, I thought I had that one in the bag. I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
All right, so the score is Kevin 1, Kelly 0. All right. If your spouse had to choose an actor to play themselves in a movie, who would they choose? This is tough for me. I picked Kevin James.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So you're gonna kind of laugh when I say who I did.
Okay.
Rob Emmer.
Rob Emmer.
Rob Emmer is in Impractical Jokers. Like, he worked for the show and they just put him in gags, and now he's just kind of like a staple for the show, and he's hilarious. And on Twitter or Instagram, I've actually interacted with him. Like, he's put stuff. He's got no problem with interacting with fans. So, I've had like many conversations with Rob.
You're way cuter than Rob Emmer.
Well, maybe sometimes. Like right now, I can rock this shirt, and Rob really probably couldn't pull this off. But
okay, score 2-0. All right. So this was a hard one for me. Really? What's your mate's biggest fear? I put being alone.
Really?
Yeah, like alone, like if I wasn't around anymore, or like.
Oh yeah, well. That would be horrible, but I just assumed that I'd be going soon after. That's just how that works. I put snakes.
Oh my God!
You throw a snake at me, and yeah,
like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much about Kevin today.
I've been very clear about me being afraid of snakes. I've not hidden this fact. So
we haven't interacted with very many snakes in our marriage,
and
though.
This is why I'm a happy man.
All right, gosh, 3-0. Mm-hmm. I have to make a comeback. All right, what's a story your spouse tells to every new group of friends? And I said the punching Richard in the face story.
I thought about putting that, and then I thought, well, no, that's not one I throw out every time we meet people. Usually we talk about some of our travels, so I just put traveling stories. But I did think about the Richard story, so I'll give you the point on that.
No, what did you write?
I wrote traveling stories.
Then we did not match.
I tried to help.
Yeah. Put an asterisk next to that point.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your spouse's favorite type of cuisine? I just put American.
There you go. That's
Woohoo! I finally got a point.
Yeah.
Of course, it'd be food related.
Yeah. Well, I do like Italian and Chinese, and I'd like to try some other stuff. Like I'm kind of interested in Indian and in Thai food, but I'm the only one. So,
all right. So at the end of round 1, the score is Kevin 4. You know what? This is going to come out like tied, probably.
We'll see.
All right, Kevin 4, Kelly 1. Or if we're going traditional style, I only scored 1 point in that round.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Round 2.
Round 2. Let's see. What adjective would your spouse use to describe themselves? What did you? Oh,
you tell me what you would think.
I'm thinking what she would say about herself, and I would say lazy.
Oh my God, I said lazy. Damn it, Kevin. All right.
She's not. She really isn't.
I really am. I am. Yeah. Don't say I'm not. You're just being nice.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows I'm not that nice. I'm kind of an asshole. Anyway, let's see. The next thing is, what would your spouse say is their biggest pet peeve? And I said repeating herself.
I said repeating myself.
She bitched about that today. Today. So when we're doing this and I'm reading the question, I'm like, she literally just said this an hour ago. And then I was like, wait a minute, let me think about this. And then she said something again. And I was like, okay, yeah, she's pissed. God. All right. Next is, what are the 2 things you have in the house that your partner would never live without?
I said, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I said the iPhone and the iPad.
I was going to say that. Mm-hmm. When I rethought the question, my initial answer was you and Tilly.
Yeah, that was my thought too. But then I said, let me think of a tangible object. Well,
yeah, I mean, see, that's what I did too. I put that, and then I'm like, well, let me think of like actual things, not like souls, things. And I would have said iPad and iPhone, but I did not change my answer, so I get that.
Oh, there you go. That's on you. Good job.
It's funny how we both matched on both of those. Yeah. And I get the point.
I literally wrote down me and her when I was answering for her answering for me. I said her and Tilly, so it's the same sort of sentiment. But then when I was switching it around, I said, well, she would probably go with the tangible, and I didn't. Not the abstract. Well, it's not really abstract.
We kind of matched on that and didn't match at the same time.
At the same time.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I screwed it up. All right. So when you plan to go out for dinner, what 2 restaurants would not be in the list of choices? Number 1 would be Olive Garden.
Okay.
The OG. And the other would be Surfrider because they nearly killed me.
Didn't think of Surfrider.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're right on Olive Garden.
Oh, wow.
I did say Olive Garden would be my first. That's off the list place. Whiskey Kitchen I put as number 2.
Oh, yeah. So Olive Garden is something that we've tried to do a couple times, but it's just not there. If you want Italian chain, go to Carrabba's. It's better. It's just better.
I don't like Italian food, so if I have Italian food, it has to be like really have a wide variety and a good.
Yeah, and not all red sauce and tomatoes and whatnot.
I mean, they do a lot of things. I do like Olive Garden's like breadsticks, of course, and their Parmesan is good.
Parmesan is good. Their Alfredo, but it's just I mean, you still have a gift card that we need to use sooner.
I know. We'll have to order lunch from there or something.
Yeah.
Whiskey Kitchen, just because it's not a comfortable place.
Yeah. Whiskey Kitchen is a place right around the corner. We've gone a few times. The food's really good, but it's just not comfortable at all.
It's hard to get in and out of. It's a
pain in the ass to park there, too.
And it's not comfortable to sit in. Just not a place I would choose to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm giving you a point and me a point on that one.
Okay.
Because we matched on one.
Yeah. Right. And the Surfriders, because they
nearly killed Kevin, so I won't go back there. But now they're not. Well, I guess they are open. They just moved down into the Liz's Kitchen, which is kind of weird, but
they did not survive the pandemic very well.
Well, that location didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know if they have multiple locations.
Yeah, the locations probably did all right. And then the last question is: your spouse asks you to grab them a treat from the store on your way home. Oh no, this never happens. What do you buy? Oh, and I put chocolate, peanut butter. What the hell? I screwed up typing there. I'll show that to you in a second. Chocolate peanut butter cup ice cream.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said 3 Musketeers.
I was about to read that, and that would have been bad.
Don't read it. But, no, I said 3 Musketeers.
Oh, well, there you go.
Usually I'll send you out for the ice cream.
Yeah.
If you're out, and I'll be like, hey, pick me up a candy bar.
Yeah. And that would be the candy bar of choice.
Hence my laziness coming in on that one. So I get the point for that. All right. So the score was 7 for Kevin, of course, and 4 you won. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know me better than I know you, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess you do pay attention, even though you don't look like you're paying attention.
I do. I am. And I
don't know if that's a good thing or not. Like when he's sitting there seeming like he's zoning out and he's not paying attention, but he actually really is just ignoring me.
It's not that. It's just I have a good memory. I don't have a great short-term memory. Like I'll forget what I got up for. Or, I'll head into a room and I'm like, well, what the fuck did I come in here for? But I'll remember stuff from like 30 years ago.
He does. He remembers meals we had, places, people we were with. I don't. I have a good short-term memory. My long-term memory is not that great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way we compliment each other.
There you go.
Woohoo! Woohoo! All right. So our TikTok video of the week. Here's what Kevin and I do. We scroll through TikTok a lot. We have become TikTok addicts.
In the hole.
And when we find really funny TikToks, we text message them back and forth to each other.
Or sometimes we'll text message her
my sister-in-law. Jen. Yeah, and recently I've started text messaging my best friend Chicken TikToks. So I'm trying to get her to get on TikTok.
So chick TikTok.
Not chickens. There's some really funny chicken ones that I found recently. So then we go back at the end of the week and we look through all the ones that we sent each other, and then we pick the winner. So this week's TikTok was funny for me, just because
it was funny.
Just because it's funny.
Yeah.
Well, we had a person in our life who
there was a car that was running around. This is when we first got married, and I'd see this car all over the place. And it was, if you're in Virginia, you know, the license plates with the kids' handprints on them. And it said, touch them. And I was like, and the car was like just a little sedan, but I was just like, touch them.
It said,
why would you put that on your car? TCHEM, space EM. And I was reading it as touch them. And end up, you know, she sees it one day and she's like, no, that's teach them.
I know who that person is.
And that is somebody that teaches at her school. And I was like, oh. And it's always been hilarious.
Yeah, we've joked about it forever. If you're watching, we loved your license.
Yes.
I don't know, you might watch or not. I don't know.
I hope she's watching.
So anyway, when this TikTok video came up, it just reminded me of that, so I had to share it. But anyway, enjoy your last week of July. Welcome August.
Welcome August. One last month of summer. If you're off for the summer because you're in education, enjoy it while you can. Because it's coming.
Time is ticking.
It's ticking away.
Some of my friends that go back early because they're 11-month employees and not 10-month employees like me. I'm sorry. But even us 10-month employees are going back earlier this year.
Yeah. And you're already spending money.
Just a little bit. I haven't spent a lot.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not really complaining about it. We spend minimum $400 a year on her classroom.
At least.
And some years it's much higher. Last year was a little elevated because we had to buy equipment for not just when when we were doing virtual, but when she stopped doing virtual, we had to buy a bunch for her classroom. The most we've ever spent was about $3,000 for I don't know if it was $3,000. It was a couple grand.
I would have never spent that much money.
You spent
when we put the bookshelves up in the portable.
That was quite a bit of money.
We used guttering for the side of your house. I put them on the wall and
it was great.
Use it as book storage. But
it was brilliant and it worked out real well. And between the guttering and we had to buy
the decorations and the rug and everything to make that stinky, ugly portable somewhat livable. And then that year was probably my least favorite teaching year ever.
It was. You were almost going to quit.
Ready to quit teaching after that year.
And then they said, well, we'd like to put you in kindergarten. And she said, can I think about that? And they said, you can think about it, but you're going to kindergarten anyway.
And thank you. Best decision ever. Anyway, all that's aside. Have a great rest of July. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
You know how people can get those license plates that say like their name or funny words or something like that? Well, these are the worst ones of all time.
All right, this lady is a teacher. She thought I teach kids was a good idea, but it just looks like I touch kids and no. Country 1. Ooh, I would check the spelling on that one. This is Gina. She thinks she's a diva, so of course she went with Diva Gina. But it doesn't look like Diva Gina. Oh, this is sweet. Nicest mom. Wait, or is it incest mom? Ugh. This car is a Lexus, so if you saw anything else besides Anna's Lex, then you have a dirty mind. Oh, her heart was in the right place. She tried to say J is Lord for Jesus, but it just came out Jiz Lord.
I've got part 2 coming up. You gotta follow.